everybody. It's Cowboy Coffee time again. Hope you got your coffee boiling and your beans bubbling today. And hope the weather's good where you're at and life is good. We all know that every day is a gift from above and that life is good for us. And we're thankful. We're thankful for all those things and everything. Everything we're given all comes from above. Good to be here. And wet the old whistle a little bit and visit with you. Been about, back 2 years in November. And what started out, at one point I thought about, I've probably done it long enough. And everybody started saying, no, don't stop. Atale, good morning. Merhaba, nasılsın? İyi misin? But a good friend of mine, good Turkish man. I was jealous. I saw where you guys were in Cheshme. Some of you and your friends at the tables there visiting, and at one time, and man, I was jealous. Me and my wife used to love to go to Cheshme Alta when when I was stationed. Excuse me, I don't have one of them buttons to close off the sound. Joke. But if you guys that don't know Turkish, that means very much, yeah. Much good. Çok güzel would be, very beautiful, great. Things are great. But we love to go to Cheshme. Oh, man. It was a beach and it was funny because later I would read about some Melungeons, they're called, from the mountains of where I'm from in North Carolina. And they came from and settled. They said a part of them were from that region in ancient times. Of Cheshme Alta area, and it was that region of the world, but there also. And I remember telling my wife, we were sitting there hanging out at Cheshme, and I looked back and I saw these blue mountains. I went, it looks like home. They look like the Blue Ridge Mountains in North Carolina, back there in the distance, the mountains that we saw going there. And Donnie Reb, my good friend, bless you, darling. You're all that you do, and I'm so glad you're performing and getting out and entertaining people, and she's always been so good over the years to the troops. And she, of course, you know my friends in the Confederate Railroad. I think you've opened for them sometime or played shows. And Wayne Seacrest, the bass player, he passed away, but Wayne was quite a character and a good guy, and we were longtime friends. We always said we've been friends since water, but. So many good friends. I'm so glad that Donnie came to Nashville and I got to meet her when I was in the Loretta years, when I was down there writing at Loretta's company. There's a song that we do. Yeah, I went to Cheshme and had dinner. Yeah, I saw the pictures. Everybody was having a good time. Love that Turkish food. Love sitting on the Mediterranean, GNC there. And when you have a meal, that's beauty, God's beauty all over that place, man. A lot of history there. I remember Alexander's castle on top of the mountain at Izmir. We used to go up there and have a picnic. The antiquity of that area was something. I was, and Donnie says, "Thanks for your service." Well, I didn't do much. But I was proud to serve. Did 8 years altogether. And when Miss Loretta said they'd hire me, I told my wife, well, I'm not re-enlisting, I was in the reserve, active then, reserve. But you're welcome, and thank you all for being great citizens that made it a good thing to serve for. That's what I always say. And Mr. Proud, George, a great guy there in the UK. I just get the biggest kick out of his posts and things he says. And we both are rebelling at the controllers, and we won't keep on. We stand for human rights and people's rights. A song that I've been really liking, and this is, if you believe in a higher power, whatever you believe in, you're good with me. This isn't good morning, Donnie Skaggs. He's over on the YouTuber side, and that's great. I was going to tell something about you in a little bit. that's great that you'd come on. Miss Laurie wants to make that cake for you and get in touch with me. We're going to bring that. I need to pick up 2 books for my next book, Dry Bones Rattling. Don't tell nobody the title. But I'm starting on it. And anyhow, man, great to see you. And I'll tell you guys about Donnie. I got Donnie and Donnie on here today. About Donnie Skaggs here in a little bit. But there's a song, this isn't a religious show, but we're religious people. Laurie was just telling me this morning how she just read that from Leviticus, proclaim liberty is on the Liberty Bell. I went, no, we didn't form this country as believers in a higher power now. But anyhow, whatever you believe, I'm just was saying is good with me. I've got friends of all faiths. God bless them all. There's something greater than all of us. Whatever you believe is okay. But this song is called The Goodness of God. And they've been doing it at where I go to church a little bit. And I just fell in love with this song. And it's just a thankfulness for all my life. I've been, I know when some things happened when I was deployed, I knew then that people's prayers and thoughts for me were involved in saving me from that and being okay. So it's called Goodness of God. And I haven't learned all the verses. I'm going to do it like a praise kind of thing, All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Your love is running after me. Your goodness is running after me. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. It's there somewhere. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I'm able, I will sing of the goodness of God. Really enjoyed that one. I just thought I'd throw out a little bit of what I've picked up out of it. And I was just saying a little bit ago, talking about Donnie Skaggs and we were sitting, for you who, I know a lot of you know Donnie, that come on here in the UK and here on this side of the pond and all. And we were going to come over and do some shows. And of course, the Chinese saw the hillbillies were heading for the UK and they threw something out and stopped us. But anyway, anyhow, we were going to come do that, but we were sitting in the studio one day at Donnie's, and he's such a great guy, a good person, and what a talent. He's had songs on, Joe Diffie and different ones. I'll say them some of them I know, but I know Travis Tritt and things. And he wrote for Charlie Pride's company, and he's got a long history of great. He played in many times over the years in my sessions when I was writing at different companies, Loretta's, Acuff Rose, whatever. And he would play guitar on my sessions. And then we kept saying, we ought to write. So we got together and started writing. And a couple of years ago, he said, why don't we do an album, put it out. All right, well, okay. And it turned out so great. We ended up with people in the UK, like the Haley sisters, singing, and Slide and Smithy, a great guitar player in England, playing on it. And just an international record, we've had streams of songs now in 15 different countries. So we're thankful for all that, for the country boys here sitting in the hills of Tennessee. He's a Kentucky boy and I'm a Carolina boy, but we've transplant farmers here in Tennessee, But anyhow, he said, why don't you also, he said, man, you ought to start doing some little thing every week where people see you. And I thought, well, nobody wants to see me, I don't know. But I started up, and it's been fun. And as of last week, I've had people that watch from Estonia, Norway, England, Japan. Not just started last week, but last week on that show there were Masahiro Ishikawa, Masahiro-san, a good friend of mine, and he's a great bluegrass player in Japan. And he watches. It's 12 minutes right now after midnight in Japan. He comes on sometimes, or he'll watch later. And it's just really fun, how so many people have come on and watched this. But it was Donnie's idea, and thank you, Donnie. And we, I got at one point I started going, well, maybe everybody's tired of it. I don't just do this, and I said something that I might not, and people started going, no, man, no, come on. So anyhow, enjoy visiting with you every day, and every Thursday, and every week. Bobby Cohn, my good friend, he's on, and appreciate you, man. And I was just, Laurie was telling me about something you posted about. Someday you might have somebody that is obsessed with you, and it might be a dog, but that's just the way it is. And I was like, that's so good. It made me think of Bubba, my dog, and we just lost him a year ago right now. He was 13 years old, but my youngest, Michelle, she was at home, and we had ducks, and we had chickens, and she had geese, and she had cat. We had everything in the world. Well, talking about obsessed with you, there was one little puppy, and I wasn't going to keep no dogs from these puppies. We always found them homes because she already had dogs, and she had, like I said, cats, ducks, geese, and there's ducks running everywhere, chickens running everywhere. She's like Ellie Mae out in the country, up on Bender's Ferry, Mount Juliet. And anyhow, this one little puppy kept following me. I'd go down to feed the chickens at the chicken pen, or I'd go down across the field to my garden. I had a big old garden back in the woods there by the woods. Whatever I did, I'd turn around, and this little puppy, he wasn't that long, he left the pack, all that little pile of puppies, and it followed me. And I wouldn't pay any attention. I'd turn around there. He said, like, what are we doing now, buddy? And I was like, you working on me? Well, it worked. I kept him 13 years. And we lost him last year, and I was real sorry for, it's hard to, see him go. But he and other dogs I've had all my life are in this song here called Dixie Dan. It was down in North Carolina, boy, down where the tall tobacco grows, where the pine trees smell so sweet, the dirty old lumber train whistle blows. Dixie Dan was a friend of mine. We were both young those days. And that time before man time came and took our youth away. Catching tadpoles in a mason jar, running round with June bugs on a string. All the days were long and hot. Life was not a complicated thing. Chasing chickens around a lumber yard in a time when times were not so hard to stand. And with the morning dew between our toes, go fishing me and Dixie Dan. Running through the tomato patch, looking for buried treasure by the road. We were cowboys in the backyard, riding an old dead log in a rodeo. Well, Dixie Dan, let's go out, yeah. We both run barefoot across the fields, digging fishing worms in the riverbank, lay back listening to whippoorwill. They carried Dixie Dan out in the yard, one of Papa's dirty factory working shirts. I sit on the back porch crying, Lord, my old heart hurt. We laid Dixie Dan on the sandbed by the river where we used to run and play. Oh, Dixie Dan, can't we ramble one more time before you go away? Dixie Dan was the very best dog young boy ever had. Octalai, my friend from Izmir, he asked what time I'm on in Milton, Kentucky. Well, now that depends. In the United States, we got all kinds of separated time zones. And so if Milton, Kentucky is East Kentucky, it's probably 10 o'clock when I come on. I'm on Central Time, they call it, which is 9. My family over in North Carolina, while they watch, they come on at 10. But it's 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. here. And every dog been bird. Hey, good morning, ma'am. She's in Norway. And I think Norway is 2 hours, probably 11:19 in the morning over there. Oh, I'm sorry. No, they're 1 hour more than England, so it's 4 p.m. Yeah, they're 7 hours ahead of me. I think in Norway. There are these time zones there, ain't everybody? But it really gets funny when everybody changes time. Thank you, Miss Donnie. She says it's a classic. It's been around forever. Everybody from Alan Jackson to Travis Tritt toyed with it. Tritt told me, that's your song. I went, well, you're the star. You're the one selling millions of records. I'm selling tens of tens, you know, and going 10. He's going platinum. But anyway, everybody's threatened to do it, so I did it. But we just have a good time. We just enjoy. That would be, I remember, so you're in Izmir, I guess. Yep, I used to call my mama when I was deployed. Once in a while, we'd go over to the LSE building, where the Land Southeast NATO, and they let us get on a line, special line, Watts line, they called them back then, 1971, 2. And it would be evening, like I'd be calling in the morning, it would be way up in the evening over there, you know, in North Carolina. But anyhow, Jan Brookfield, good morning, ma'am. Hope you're knitting up real good and healing. I wanted to remind you guys, too, everybody, this is the latest book. I'm working on the 7th book. This is the 6th book of the Blue Mountain series, and we're really pleased that Barnes and Noble, and I wish I had pitched it to Donnie Reb. I know she'd have done it. But anyhow, the Dixie Dan Donnie saying should have pitched it to me. Well, you still do it, darling. But anyhow, this book, one called Bear, is probably getting more reads online than I think it is than most of the books that I've written. And I think I'm gonna start putting an animal on the cover all the time. But anyhow, that book is doing good, and I appreciate it. And I wanted to tell you, Barnes and Noble has picked up two of them, The Blue Mountains of Dan and Clinging to Dirt and Breathing Air, the two of the books. That'd be the first book of the Blue Mountain series and the fifth book. And they picked them up, and I'm so pleased with that, because Barnes and Noble you don't get to try to get them. They just pick it up if they want it. And you don't get to submit, you don't get to ask about it. So I was real pleased. But if you guys go to your nearest Barnes and Noble, ask them to get these books in. Say, hey, get the Blue Mountain series on their element in. That'd help me. Or they'll order it for you. They're not in the shelves because I'm a small business here, and I don't think I can print up 2 million of them and send them out to Barnes and Noble. But they might order them. The manager might order them, through me and put them on the shelf. So I appreciate you. Go into Barnes and Noble and fuss at them a little bit. Where it at? Where are them books? But I appreciate them, boy, so much picking it up, because anybody can publish on Amazon. I mean, we ain't pretending nothing here. They're glad to take anything to stick on there, And so I was really pleased when Barnes and Noble picked it up, because they don't, they choose what they want. I don't know how they found them. That's great. So y'all talk to them and order them from them. They'll help me out there. And if you don't like them, say it was one of Stephen King's books you didn't like. Anyhow, y'all, that's enough about that. Somebody was sent me a message this week. They were this song that Richie Albright, the late Richie Albright, he knew they had put this song down, but he didn't remember. My friend Wayne Seekers from Confederate Railroad was buddies with all the Waylon group. And that's how Waylon heard my songs years ago. He sent them over there and said, hey, you ought to hear this kid. And Waylon said, what's he doing out there playing music? He ought to be in Nashville. But anyhow, he sent that over, and Waylon had heard the stuff. And so anyway, Richie, I kept hearing Waylon. I saw him at the studio called Soundstage in Nashville one day. I went through with my great coat Civil War. I would reenact battles, and I'm digging the history, Civil War stuff, and all history, and Waylon was too. So he gave me the high sign. He liked that, and he liked this song of mine. They say they put something down. I don't know if it was finished, and Richie wasn't sure if he finished the vocal. It was, we're talking about like 1989, 90 when they did it. So anyhow, I saw Richie before he passed away. He was down at a little Texas something grill right down there from near 3rd and Lindsay. They were across the street on the corner there. The Waymores were there. The band after Waylon had passed, they did gigs. And he was telling me that. But anyway, somebody asked me, man, do that song again that you've been doing. That Waylon, I got to talk to Waylon on the porch of his office one day. He had told me at the studio when he saw the coat I had on, was talking about the song. He said, come out and have coffee. Well, anybody knows about stars, there's 10 people between you and them. When you say, oh, Waylon said, come have coffee. So that's just the nature of stardom, That's why I never wanted it. I don't get bothered. I can go down here today, to Sharks Park Pond down here in Smyrna. Ain't nobody gonna bother me, and I ain't gotta be nowhere. But anyhow, I went up to the door to see Waylon at his office because I saw his gold Cadillac. Everybody knew Waylon there because he had a gold colored Cadillac, and everybody knew that Cadillac. So I said, well, I'm gonna go up and have coffee with him. So I went to the door, and the sweetheart that ran his office, come up, and she said, well, Waylon's in a meeting, and I just did the old dig my heels in country boy thing, real nice, but dug them in. And I said, well, let me take my glasses off so I can see play guitar. But anyhow, Anyway, I told her, well, just tell him it's Larry, wrote whatever, don't kill me. And, so she went back for a minute, and out come this New York manager he had. And Waylon had a New York manager, and he come and he said, Mr. Jennings is in a meeting, And I mean, I've been, I had good friends from up in New York, like Al Cooley. He's from the Bronx. I love him, man. I like that bulldog kind of, people, and New Yorkers are fine to me, but it don't intimidate me. I grew up at Dale Earnhardt, Ironhead, the Intimidator. Don't bother me none. I just told him, I said, well, just tell Waylon, it's Larry. I wrote whatever, don't kill him. So let's have a drink of coffee. So anyhow, Waylon, the door opens and it's Waylon, and we talked for about 20 minutes on his porch. Visited. Never did get the coffee, but he was in a meeting, and I didn't want to be totally rude, just a little bit, say howdy to him. But the Southern way, bless his heart. But anyhow, I said something to him about, I said, I used to play your songs on the flatbed truck at Echo's parking lot, and it wasn't grounded. It'd shock your lips if you touched it. And he said, I do too, So it was fun talking, and he liked to have an idea on the change on the song. And I was told he took it 5 times in the studio or was there working with it. I don't know. It's never shown up. I don't know. But doggone it, Waylon. But anyhow, the song went something like this. Down through the years, I've had to learn a few lessons. Some I came by hard and some I just flew right on through. But to figure it out, there's never rhyme or reason. Each lesson helped me learn something I could hold on to. And whatever don't kill me makes me stronger. Whatever mistakes I have made are just part of this life. I'm just like an old piece of steel that's been tried in the fire. And all in all, it's just strengthened my will to survive. Now, some of the moves that I made took me straight to the top. And some of the bridges I burned made it easy to fall. But lately I'm gaining more than I ever have lost. And it ain't over yet, and I'll tell you, it's too soon to call. Whatever don't kill me makes me stronger. Whatever mistakes I have made, just part of this life. I'm just like an old piece of steel that's been tried in the fire. And all in all, it's just strengthened my will to survive. Yeah, whatever don't kill me makes me stronger. Whatever mistakes I have made were just part of this life. I'm just like an old piece of steel that's been tried in the fire. And all in all, it's just strengthened my will to survive. Well, a good friend of mine, Barry Beckett, he had an idea. We were saying tempered in the last line of the chorus. And he said, it sounds like timbered. like it's defeating you now. I was like, well, I never thought about it that way. Your temper steel. So we changed it to strengthen. And Barry wanted to cut it on Confederate Railroad, and it didn't get cut then, but Danny Shirley, they cut it on a project later. I hope that one will come out. They used to cut that song, with Confederate Railroad, but it's in the can. We don't know. It was a project, one of the many projects in Nashville that don't come out. But we shall see. Maybe that song will come out on them. Do appreciate Danny. We had a song, Whiskey and Women, and it's not a lot it sounds like. It's about surviving all the bad habits and getting straightened out and coming to a good place in your life, So that's a surviving song, and thankful that we did. But he put that on their album "Lucky to Be Alive" a couple years ago, so y'all can get that. It's on Barnes Noble everywhere, and my song is on there. I'm proud of it. Danny and I wrote it several years ago, and he put it on that album. Surprised me. And, Travis Tritt, he surprised me with a new thing. That's probably a year and a half ago now, called Blue Collar Man, a compilation that he put out. And he put Son of the New South on there that we wrote back when he was first got his deal, and he put it on his country club out. And I think we're close to this is three I think million now, triple platinum. I don't know, but anyhow, appreciate him doing that. We wrote one called Prodigal Son together when we first got together to write. His producer was named Greg Aaron Brown. And Greg called me one day and he said, man, you got to get you together with this kid in Georgia that we just signed. We're looking at signing that, and signed him. They was humming and hawing for a long time. And one day his manager called up, one night his manager called, I think Danny Davenport was looking after his business down there in Georgia. And he called up over to the guy that ran Warner Brothers, and he said, look, if y'all tomorrow morning we're going to MCA, and if they're going to sign him, I'm going to sign. So he went, no, I got him. And so Travis was kind of a rebel. He was down in Georgia. He had a Confederate flag behind him on stage with Travis Tritt emboldened on it. And some of the people was from LA at Warner Brothers, and they weren't real crazy about that. So they were humming and hawing about whether they'd sign him. And so they said, well, give the kid, Greg Brown, he was an intern kind of kid from Belmont. We call it Belmont, where the music school there that Mike Kirk set up above the road there. And many, many kids have gone into the music business from there, shall we say. But Greg was one of the good ones. And Greg was given the new kid. I just give it to the new kid. Became the biggest thing on the lake. I have another friend that lives in Florida now. And Ken Mansfield, say some prayers for him. He's fought cancer for years. But Ken was another young man that he was in the Capitol Records building in LA in the 60s. He was a kid. He was an intern to the big boss, and they called him up to the top floor of the tower one day. And the top floor was the king up there, the kingpin of the label, I know the name of Mo something, or there was the big head of the label, And that's, we'll leave it right there, who he was. But anyhow, he called Ken up, just to show you how things can fall in people's lap. He said, son, we've got some kids coming over from England. He said, don't know much about them. They're just going to be here, but we want everything to, because of the politics between, here and there and some things. And this guy, he said, we want it to be smooth. It's on you. Take care of these kids. Make sure they have a good trip here and back. And then that's it. And just dumped it on his lap because he was a new kid and they didn't know what those guys were going to be. And he had it dumped on him, just laid in his lap, And it turned out they were something called the Beatles. And within 2 weeks, Ken was telling me they were the biggest thing in music in America. Just in a couple of weeks, stations back then would beg to be the first to get a little recording, and they'd send them out to them, and they'd try to be the first station to get their hands on something. So they was in 2 weeks, the whole world was after him, and he ended up representing their Apple Music. Later now on this Apple thing now bought that from them. The title, the name, but Apple Records, and Ken ended up being their liaison, their man who managed their Apple Records and the Beatles music here in America. He was their rep here in the United States. So you see, things can just fall on you, you know. Like Greg calling me, I get to be a part of that career. And you know, you got to put yourself in a place to be somewhere. So I come out here in 71, slept in my car down by the river. My mom would have had a heart attack. You know, I was sleeping in a car down in the city. And met different people on the Opry, hung around the old Opry, the Grand Ole Opry House when it was the Opry House, was a Ryman. And hung around there on Friday and Saturday nights and put myself in that place. I met some people, George Hamilton IV, the Wilburn brothers. You know, he told me to go see the Wilburn brothers, and George was he was real kind to me. Years later, I wrote songs with his when I was at Curb Music Records writing for their publishing, and Hedgie we call him, but George V, his son, George Hamilton IV's son. We were writing, and I said, "Boy, I can tell you where you picked up your daddy when you was little. He's just a knot-headed kid just a knothead in the back seat." And I said, "I can tell you where he picked your daddy up after he did his opera shows." He said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, the park bench, or the bus bench. I mean, not a park, but the bus bench, straight out of the back door of the Ryman on the other block. And your mama would pull up and pick him up." Y'all, he said, "How you know that?" And I said, "I was standing there, you know." So, boy, it was some tough times. I didn't have no money. I couldn't pay for a ticket to get in the Opry if I wanted to eat the next few days. And that got to be a hard thing to keep money. And I got to get a job, you know. But what are you doing in Hillbilly Headland if you got to go get a job, you know? I just knew the Grand Ole Opry Star was going to hire me and I was going to make big money. So anyway, George was nice to me, and he said, "You know, here, go see these people Monday morning. You tell them that I sent you." He was from Winston-Salem, which is near Mayberry or Mount Airy, where I'm from, in North Carolina. And he was real kind. All those guys were kind to me. The four guys were another group on the Opry, and they were kind. Everybody. I mean, they were just great. I met Connie. Connie Smith came out the back door, and Mr. Bell was the old guard there. He was a great guy. He went on to the new building with them till he passed, but he knew Hank Williams Sr. He told me stories, and I think he saw it as a nice kid, good kid, well raised in Mayberry, you know. And so he would say, "Hey, this kid's here. He's, you know, sleeping in his car down here, man, y'all, and he's trying to get in the business." So I ended up getting signed by the Wilburns. They offered me a contract to write exclusively for them at Surefire Music, where Loretta was writing. They discovered Loretta, and I didn't meet her then. I didn't meet Loretta, but the way life works, I would end up writing for a company and working with it for almost 14 years later. First, I did a 5-year stint writing for them, and I was deployed in the military, and I had somewhere to send my songs. Of course, by about 1980, I decided ain't no way in the world you ever make money and a living at the meat business. So I was going to just become a professional soldier and re-enlist and stay in the military like my daddy, you know, all my life. And then I sent out one more round of music, you know. It's hard for a country boy to give up. So I thought, well, before I re-enlist, I'm going to send one more time. I'm going to mail some stuff out to Nashville places. And one of them was Coal Miners Music that got it. And they called and said, we played them for them, and they like this, and we want to work with you. And so I told my wife, "Honey, let's just sell off what we can't haul." And we made a little caravan with Wayne Seacrest that would later be the bass player in Confederate Railroad, and his girlfriend Cheryl White was on Rosie Radio in Evansville, and they come. Her and Laurie was in one car, and in our car, and he was in his truck pulling a load, and I was in my vehicle packed, you know, with our old jalopy was packed down, looked like it was grapes of wrath. I'm heading for Nashville, and that got us. We come down here, got in the music business, but boy, there was some tough times, you know. I wasn't making no money, and I began to wonder, what did I do now? And I thought, well, I can go back in the Army, you know. And I was thinking about it again. I like being a soldier. I got a soldier's heart, and I love the Army. And anyhow, I got a call one day. I was working in a machine shop near what they call Trevecca College, and on Murfreesboro Road, or it's another name up that close, but whatever. Murfreesboro Road. And anyhow, Meredith called me one day and she said, I got a job for you at Coal Miners Music. Oh, yeah. I put in my notice in that machine shop. And old Dennis there, he was kind of a tyrant, and he was not happy. He tried to fire me the whole 2 weeks, and his brother was working on the line with me. He said, Dennis, he's doing 110% production. I never was a lazy person. And so he got real mad I was escaping. But I was happy. And I would go in that machine shop. What I do, I was making stators. They go in your alternators in cars. I was wiring them on the line there. But anyhow, I'd punch out at noon. I'd have me a brown sack lunch, and I'd run up the hill to Music Row, and I'd hit Loretta's office, and I'd play Meredith some of my latest things I'd made up that week. And then I'd come out of there. She would make sure that when I called her, she'd give me one of her lunch hours, 12 noon, And I would zoom up there, play her song, and run back, eat my lunch in the car, and run back, punch in by 1 o'clock. Because he's looking for a reason for me, But the whole time. Anyhow, she said, you can be a tape copy and work in our little studio. And she said, then when you got an idea, writer's room right beside you, I go in there and write songs. And so eventually, that gave me a good job, steady pay, good insurance. Loretta and Mooney had, Metropolitan. And then one day they said, we want to sign you to Coal Miners as a writer. That's the other company. So she was good to me. All those years I had 2 paychecks. She was very good to me. I had a solid job, real job, they call them, And and then I had a draw up of writing for the Coal Miners Music also. So she was so good to me. And that way I could do things. Sid Randell, good morning, man. I appreciate you putting my old junky song there on your radio. Y'all, today on Ghost Rider Radio, it'll be about 11 o'clock here when I think when he starts. Yeehaw, Sid. He's going to play another one of my Western swing things I did. I love Western swing. I didn't grow up in it. Morning to my brother Mark over there in North Carolina. Oh, I miss my mountains in North Carolina. I'll be up on that parkway. But anyhow, Sid Randell, Ghost Rider Radio, Trad Zook Radio, and they, you can donate to help them. If you go listen to that show, I think you're going to see he just plays all these treasures of gems of great old music, and you'll get to hear British talent. There's some awesome talent in Britain, and you'll enjoy. He has 2 hours, by the way, of the 5 o'clock somewhere now, and he's expanded. Now, last week I kept wondering, he didn't go off. I thought, well, you're going to play mine because it's over. No, I'm just kidding. But no, if you guys listen to Ghost Rider Radio, Sid Randell, you can see him on here. Go friend him on the Facebook, and you can see where to go. It has a link to listen to his radio show. He has different times in the week. Tuesday it's afternoon here, 2 o'clock Central. So, you can figure the times out when you see when he's doing. But he's going to play a new one I sent him today, and I appreciate you so much. It's what they say, a prophet in his own country. It's hard to get arrested in Nashville as an artist when I'm right here among, all the biggies, all them big stars here, So that's the way it is on here. And, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. I ain't trying to be a star anyway. I like writing and fishing and writing and fishing. I mean, writing. And I'm happy right where I'm at. But it's great, There are some stations. Now, I got to give a shout out to Real Country. They play my stuff. And, out here in Lebanon, Tennessee. And there are stations around Gallatin, Tennessee, on the little station. Once you get off of Music Road stations, get a little airplay, they talk to you. And the time I get over to Bristol, Virginia, they're playing my stuff. And the time I get home to North Carolina, I'm supposed to be somebody. They put my picture up in the restaurants in Mayberry and Mount Airy, And I told them, well, I hope it don't turn nobody's stomach and hurt your business. They've been there forever, called the Snappy Lunch. I wrote a song, Roger Murrah, that one of the Oak Ridge boys was doing a project, William Lee Golden, and he cut it called Carolina Cafe. And the setting is, for me, I was in the Snappy Lunch. Everybody that knew the Andy Griffith show knows, that he would say going down to the diner. Andy worked in there when he was a boy in high school. with another kid who later owned the place, and Mr. Dow. And Mr. Dow, when I grew up, Mr. Dow, of course, was older. They were older than me. And Andy had become a star when I was a kid there playing guitar on the streets of Mount Airy. I was aggravating the whole town. I'd be on Main Street hanging around the old men that played checkers on the bench. I later put that in a song called Americana. They were selling newspapers, and they'd sit there on the bench, play checkers, and you had the snappy lunch. And I'd go in there sometimes, and he got my picture up in there now, Miss Mary did, and his wife. He's passed away, but Mr. Dow, he was, sometimes he's in the mood to fool him, and sometimes he wasn't. He'd run me off, me and my guitar out there sometimes. Maybe he's too busy, but when he was in a good mood and wanted me to play a Hank Williams song, I'd sit on the stool. I didn't do it all the time, but sometimes I'd go by Jonesing for a hot dog, and he'd have me play a little on the stool, and then he won't run me off because he needs the stool. I kind of learned, right? When he look at me and be, okay, all right, I'm out of here. And we used to play in a pizza place, me and a guy named Don Sawyers. Everywhere that we could annoy him, we did. Don would do. We kind of got in because Don didn't really write much. He did some writing with me, and he did some writing, but he was more a cover singer. He did Johnny Cash, Merle Haggard, all that. Well, I'd always do songs I wrote, so it's kind of hard for people who don't even know your songs, but people were good to me. They liked them, and we did one that the guy who owned the Main Street Grill on North Main, he would ask me to do this. Hey, Miss Tommy, good morning. Out there in Arizona, I saw some places in Arizona had snow, maybe Windy Grindy or Dawn Marie. Sometimes they had pictures of snow. But anyway, the owner in Mayberry of Main Street North Main, past where the museum is now, the Surrey County Museum. It's still there. I believe it's still there. But anyway, the owner back in the 60s, when I was a kid, he liked this song. He'd give me a hamburger some days after school. I'd drag my guitar over there. Me and Don go in, and he wanted to hear this song. My pappy was a jailbird, my mama was a saint. My sister was a waitress in a small town cafe. My brother was an engineer on a great big railroad line. I was the black sheep of the family. They called me the black sheep of the family. Well, the farm we owned just wasn't big enough for all of us. So I decided it was time for me to catch a bus. So I left a poor boy, and a poor boy I would stay. 'Cause I was the black sheep of the family. They called me the black sheep of the family. Well, I went as far as I could go on the money that I had. I ended up some far off town, feeling kind of bad. Nobody there knew my name, but don't guess nobody cared. 'Cause I was the black sheep of the family. They called me the black sheep of the family. Yeah, my pappy was a jailbird, like father, like son. When I'm not in some jailhouse, I'm always on the run. I guess that I'm just proving what they all used to say. Called me the black sheep of the family. Yeah, I was the black sheep of the family. Well, my pappy was a jailbird, my mama was a saint. Yep, I wrote that in study hall one day at Surrey Central High School. And it was a song that later helped me with people in Nashville. It's what I played when I went into the Tally Ho Tavern, which I didn't drink. It was kind of funny. I was a kid. I mean, my family, my immediate family didn't drink, and my uncle that did wouldn't let nobody give me one. I played at his parties, and he protected me from older women's, and drinkings. But anyhow, that's another story. But Uncle Hurley was a great influence on me, and always told me, son, you go after it, and you shoot for the top. And, he's a great guy. He's a boisterous person, and you know his personality, but you know his heart's just as big as Texas, you know. And Uncle Hurley ingrained a lot of good things in me to go do, you know. And also he had a hot rod car to go down the highway about 110. I don't tell my mom, but he knew I loved to go ride with him, and once in a while we'd get up and go. And but I learned to play and perform for people at parties he would have in the basement. He had a den thing put down there and had parties, and he would rent an electric guitar for me. And I put a picture on Facebook not long ago, me at 16 years old playing there. And I learned to perform. These are all truck drivers. You know, he was a truck driver, and that was a good bunch to learn to play for, you know. And I was studying all those. And everybody wanted Folsom Prison Blues when I was 16. It was 1968. And, of course, he had put that song out in 57. But he did a live version at Folsom Prison. And it was a big Johnny Cash blew up again. Now my little sister on here, don't be telling my mama nothing now. She switched me now at 88. She still get me. She'll have a birthday coming on the 19th. So we're just blessed to have our mama, and she's the most wonderful mama in the world. But she don't need to know everything now. But Uncle Hurley did protect me. He wouldn't let anybody give me a drink or nothing. So it was a safe place to learn to play for people and perform. And then I went out and started playing with a couple of guys in a bluegrass band we called the Surrey County Partners. Bill Jones was his name, lived next to us in the hospital pharmacy apartments, we called them. But I learned to play for people in festivals, families, and children. And Lord have mercy, sometimes you got to follow. There'll be like these 9-year-olds. They were called the Twin County Partners from Carroll County, Virginia. And one night, me and Bill Jones, and I remember the banjo player's name. We had a 3-piece little bluegrass band. And we were at the Beulah School, it's called, the Beulah School, for a festival or a convention, fiddling thing. And man, those kids, I was like, you're talking about, I was already like 14, 15 years old. Or more, you know, right in there. And they were 9 years old, and they stepped up there and and I said, do we have to go on out there now? You know, I don't want to. But anyhow, it was a lot of fun, and you learn to play for people and perform. And then we started playing on for Jim Walter Mobile Homes a lot over there on 52. While we played on flatbed trucks. And Miss Betty Anderson, she's was Betty Alderman, and sister to my good cousin Cotton. But good to see you, darling. And we went. I saw her. She was a senior when I was a freshman, I think, and I met her at Surrey Central High School. But anyhow, we were playing over on Highway 52 to call it, going up out of Mount Airy right there, heading for Cana. And on the right was they had a mobile home place, Jim Walter Mobile Homes, and we played for them. And I remember one day Don was singing Okie from Muskogee, and we didn't do marijuana night. And this little hippie girl had a little headband on, just cute as a button, you know. But she walked up and she stuck a flower in my guitar up here in the tuning pegs, you know. She stuck a little flower in there. Oh, well, that's awful nice. And a couple years later, a couple years later, I was in uniform, and a little hippie girl spit on me in the South Carolina bus station and said I was a baby killer. And I was like, oh, Lord have mercy, I don't kill no babies. But I never let it bother me. It's all right. We served because we believe in our country. And if she wanted to have a right to be like that, well, go right ahead. It didn't bother me anyway. I was a thick-skinned alligator skin. That's how I made it through the music business. Well, boys and girls, we're going to wrap her up here in a few minutes. It's been great to visit with all y'all. My friend from Turkey came on, And Eve, she came on from Norway. She's here. My family in North Carolina. My, Donnie Reb out there in California, and Miss. There's people on here from Arizona. Tommy, Miss Tommy, come on, and we just appreciate everybody and all y'all that I can't see on the other. Some I can see some, can't see all. So if I missed you, don't get mad. Y'all got forgiven me. Mr. Donnie Skaggs, he was on here, and he did a great job. He produced, we kind of did it together, but he's such a great producer. He played guitar and produced and called in favors, and we did it on a shoestring budget, the Circle album, and it's been so great, and airplay overseas with it. It's been streamed. I couldn't believe we've had streams. I was just looking, Donnie, if you're still here. Some of the latest streams I saw were Taiwan, Thailand, Singapore, France, Germany, Estonia, England, Norway. Did I mention France? Spain, Israel. That was the first time. Kuwait. It's Romania. And we've had streams of songs from that album. I'm pretty sure it was on that album. I've had streams from a lot of places, but 15 different countries that we've had streams in, so for a little operation and just enjoying ourselves. I'm thankful for that. And it's just great to, somebody in Australia, they took they got a ringtone of, hey, I take trouble. Trouble wants to come around. They'd be running around out in the outback, and that comes on as a ringtone on their phone. Because I can see my reports from my distributor, TuneCore. And somebody in Australia got a ringtone. Somebody in Germany got a ringtone of that song, and some others. So it's really fun to see. We're all China. I got my first streams in China. I don't expect we're going to get paid nothing about it, but anyhow, the CCP and me, but it's awesome to see, just to think on some sampan there on the Tungzi River, somebody streamed there. I'm going down to the river, going down to that train track and lay a penny on that track. And I wonder what, I'm sure they got rails and railroads in China. So maybe they took one of their little, I don't know what their money is, yen. I don't know if it's metal. Maybe they took it down and put it on the railroad track. And so it's a lot of fun. It's great, It's great. For an old boy that was in the, I'm still that 14-year-old in tobacco fields with Moses McKinney down below Blackwater in the summer in the heat, working out in the field. And I told him and Mr. Bryant and James Questenberry that I used to put prime bacca for tobacco, y'all. We call it bacca. Down there, and we'd go down to Keys Grocery and get a RC cola and a homemade bologna sandwich. But I told him, I said, I'm going to make up these songs and pick guitar and Opry and everybody to do them. And they spit, one of them chewed tobacco, spit his back and said, I hope so, boy, I hope so. And, I'm so thankful that the music went where it went, and I'm happy. Didn't get in this to be rich. I ain't the most wealthy. I ain't the most number ones. But God gave me a career and let me do what I love. And I don't know what else you need. I got what I need. But it never was about money. That money and fame, I have learned, they come and go like water through your fingers, sand through the hourglass, the daisy life. But anyhow, that ain't it. It's somebody even in another country that likes your music. That's what it's about. And somebody that got something out of that song, All right, Sid Randale, and yeah, I know I'm woo, that popped that one. But yes, sir, and Sid, I'll try to get by in a little bit. I'm doing tax paperwork for my businesses and for the IRS, and I'll try to get by and catch your show a little bit. And I love you too, Miss Betty, my cousin, and yeah, I miss Cotton. I dedicated this book in the inside. I dedicated the book in memory of Billy Cotton Alderman, it says on there. I don't know if y'all can see that from here on there, but I dedicated one call bear to Billy Cotton. He used to run around and take me to his first wife, Sandra, her daddy, Mr. Brown. He'd have a cookout going in the backyard, and Cotton was so proud of my songs and my talent, and he would haul me around. He's a little older than me, and he could drive. He'd haul me around everywhere. Mr. Brown gave me a burger for singing Hank songs and my songs. He would take me up to the state line there. There was some people the place is still there. It's a little cinder block building on the right when you go into Cana, Virginia, and they had a little fruit stand and selling stuff. And we'd go in there. I remember one winter night by a potbelly stove, and I did that Black Sheep of the Family. Those folks, I think they might have been Jenkins. I'm not sure now, but they liked that song. They liked my songs and stuff, and they'd give me a peach, and they're out of the orchard, and I like a peach, I like peaches, and they would let me gnaw on one of them and then pick the tar for them. Wash your hands first to get sticky on these strings. But he would haul me around everywhere, and I know one day we went up in the wintertime, and there was ice on the top of he called it Bald Head Mountain. I don't know where that's at anymore, but he called it Bald Head Mountain. I don't know if it's just a rocky top mountain over there. But we got up there on the ice and stuff, and we were slipping around. And I told Billy, I said, you know what? And they're going to come on WSYD radio tomorrow and say 2 dummies fell off the mountain. But anyhow, we had a good time, and we rolled everywhere and had a good time. I remember we went to see the movie Bullet, and Billy had the exact color and make and model of that Mustang in the Bullet movie with Steve McQueen. We thought we was the coolest dudes in our area, Anyway, y'all, we're going to wrap her up now. I got to go get to work now. The fun's over. Doing tax paperwork for my companies. And got to get on all that. Work on the new book. Get to work for a living. I'm a hard taskmaster. I'm the boss. And the master, he said, get to work. Y'all have a great day. We're going to go now. Cowboy coffee time. Cowboy coffee time. Y'all come back now, you hear? Good Lord willing, we'll be here next Thursday. It's Cowboy Coffee time. See y'all later now. Adios, man. Adios, y'all.